It's a crisp summer morning. You've taken your child to the park to avoid the lethargy of a day inside. As you sit in mild discomfort on a bench, the child speaks. Papa? Yes. When I get older? Yes. What should I be? A chill runs down your spine. Thoughts of an uncertain future pass through you like rancid salsa. You think of all the jobs AI will make obsolete. You wonder what careers could be safe from obsolescence in general, but no examples come to mind. Papa? Then you consider school and how hard it will be to choose a post-secondary education. Papa! And then you wonder what will be the point of it all. Papa! In Friedrich Nietzsche's The Gay Science, a madman declares that God is dead, and get this, we've killed him. Here's the quote. Nietzsche's quote isn't meant to capture something joyous, like dancing on the grave of an enemy. The death of God has great consequences. God was, and still is for many, a greater purpose that sits above all other purposes. In God's absence, Nietzsche believed we are at great risk of plunging into an, abyss. Headfirst into a state of nihilism, backflipping into a very long episode of Family Guy. But while God continues its slow decline, humanity has already elevated something to the status of greater purpose, only to once again watch its sad demise. I'm talking about work, baby. A long time ago, work served as an obvious and often direct way to satisfy our central needs, but the concept naturally expanded in complexity. Over time, work took on a religious and moral flavor. Protestantism, for example, has long placed a value on hard work. In the 16th century, the theologian, and killer possibly, John Calvin, suggested that hard work and success were signs that someone was predestined for salvation, and the rest of humanity received the consolation prize of damnation. In the 17th century, the Enlightenment philosopher John Locke pushed the notion of the sovereign individual, with the moral duty to preserve themselves and the rest of humanity. This came with the obligation to use our labor and land to cultivate the earth. This Lockean thinking was used to boost productivity. It was, however, also used to steal land away from indigenous peoples. The concept of work has long been intertwined with our sense of identity. For most of history, work was not something you got to choose. It was often generational, or just whatever was available. It was a role you inhabited, but one of several in life. But the types of potential jobs grew as education expanded. A job title became a signifier of wealth and accomplishment, thoroughly intertwined with our self-esteem. A great deal of our self-worth is now overwhelmingly tied to our work and the associated title. Scientist, TV host, comedian, Cirque du Soleil acrobat, Babadook. We started to speak of our work as if it were a predetermined calling. Roles were to be chosen authentically by looking deep within, as if client success manager were imprinted on your soul. And now we also pursue our work identities as a form of profile building to give an account of our work selves to the public. Businesses have naturally played off this investment in our work identities to extract more value and loyalty from you. They blur the lines between work and home with little tricks like referring to workers as family. You know, the kind of family you cast out in an economic downturn. But something changed in the 2020s. AI gurus started casually suggesting that work would be over soon, like the way you and I lament the closing of a dim sum restaurant. Whether they're ultimately right or not about AI wiping out white-collar jobs by 2030-something, the discussion has contributed to the overall sense that work is dead. That's pretty dramatic, so let's unpack that a little. The idea here is that the belief in work is dying, much like the belief in God in Nietzsche's time. This is especially true for the youth of today, and there are many reasons for this. The promise of home ownership and retirement are no longer attainable with a decent job. These financial goals are merely shiny objects in the rearview mirror, without inheritance or a quirky rich benefactor. A popular article from 2020 declared that the Simpsons lifestyle is no longer attainable. 5 years later, the lifestyle possible when the article was written is, sadly, no longer attainable. Oh, how lucky the people of 2020 were. In the last several years, the financialization of society has started to make work seem like a sad joke. So much wealth comes from already having wealth and investing it in financial schemes like crypto. Job security is all but divorced from performance. Layoffs occur in response to forces far beyond a single employee and often reflect failed strategies of the top brass, or just ways of getting a tax break. And now the youth are graduating from university and college and entering a battle royale of a job market that's not nearly as captivating as the film. Gainful employment seems to be scarce as AI is whetting its beak in entry-level jobs. Those who have the pleasure of working with AI often complain that it takes the best part of their job away. There is self-overcoming and the feelings of power that just don't happen in the same way with prompts. And then there's the sad fact that a lot of work, when looked at with the blinders off, is meaningless. Meaningless in the sense that it does not contribute even remotely to the greater good. These jobs were famously referred to as bullshit jobs by anthropologist David Graeber. So what are we to do with all this growing disenchantment with work? Similar to the death of God, humanity is reckoning with a nasty bout of nihilism. Something we valued above almost all else is unraveling rapidly, leaving a vacuum of valuing. If we don't just end up offloading our intelligence to AI and losing ourselves in small pleasures, perhaps we can imagine a post-work world that directs our energy elsewhere. We'll be prepared for when obsolescence comes to our door, or when we just don't want to revolve our lives around work. But what does a post-work world look like? Many post-workists have dreamed up a world where our survival does not depend on work. We're covered by a form of, you know the acronym, UBI. But the path to UBI is not a given, especially if too many cling to the old morality of work. But who knows? Maybe we'll land somewhere nice in this respect. We may even find ourselves in some sort of luxury communist future. A future where work is for automations. Where drones pick up and deliver our food credits. Where we give the dictator the finger and speed away in our Lambo. Where we perform mandatory military service on brutalist PlayStations. A future where we tape over the leader's propaganda on our combo VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray player.
I said I don't want any damn vegetable.
It goes something like that anyway, you can look it up. Without work, we lose the structure and identity we glean from it. But fret not. Without work as our greater purpose, all our smaller purposes can run wild and free. Our time will be occupied by community-led community stuff to pursue opportunities for validation and power. I'm talking short story competitions, being on the board of a knitting group, building shared gazebos, taking board games too seriously, actually spending time with our children, stuff like that. A place where we have more or less successfully redirected our will to power from the domain of work. I do wonder how satisfying this kind of world will be for those who get acid reflux from the very thought of slam poetry, or for those motivated more by fruit over labor. I hear the individualist in me scream, but the socially conscious man jump for joy. Sorry, child of the Enlightenment, time to say goodbye. Papa! Papa! Yes? I know what I want to be when I grow up. Yes? I want to drive a Lamborghini as part of a community-led initiative. And those are my animated thoughts. But what do you think? Is work really dying, or is it just really despairing right now? And what do you think of a post-work future? Does it bore you, or do you already have a screenplay to write when you're getting paid no matter what? Let me have it in the comments, and please subscribe to this channel for more philosophical animated video essays.